Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Star Wars Stuff Podcast, where we talk all things Star Wars. My name is Colin,
I'm Ray.
and we're here to talk about.
C2E2?
We can talk about C2E2 because both of us were there.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
It was so much fun. I debuted my Chewbacca. You were with a bunch of handmaidens.
Yes.
It was great.
Yes.
Yeah, and not only are we saying welcome back to our podcast, but we haven't done this like in a month and a half because we've been busy.
Very busy.
So we're excited to be back.
Was it your first C2E2?
It was.
Cool. This was also mine.
Yeah.
I got it. It was so much fun hanging around with a bunch of Padmes and handmaidens. Not only because when you're Sabe and hanging out with other handmaidens, it's kind of fun when you're in a group of people who like fit with your costume, like a group cosplay, but also they all know that I don't cosplay Padme.
Yes.
Oh, I keep forgetting to tell people, but on Saturday, towards the end of the day, somebody actually stopped me at C2E2 while I was dressed as Commander Sabe, so not really recognizable. Yeah. But I had my hair pulled back in a bun.
Yeah.
This guy stops me and asks me, totally serious, if I'm Emma Stone.
Oh.
I've never been stopped before. I've been stopped by people who want to tell me I have really good eyebrows.
Okay.
I apparently have very memorable eyebrows. But I've never had somebody actually mistake me for a celebrity. And Emma Stone. That's a newer one.
I see it. And you have done a Spider-Gwen costume, haven't you?
I did one. I hated how it looked, so I got rid of it.
Yeah.
But that's also not Emma Stone.
Well, yeah, but she did play Gwen Stacy at one point. So yeah. But yeah, no,
I'll have to find a character that Emma Stone does to cosplay. Because that's why I did Sabe, because so many people tell me I look like Keira Knightley.
La La Land is a good one.
Does she have any, like, I don't know if she has, like, iconic costumes from that, though.
She has cool dresses. And she's got a very similar hairstyle.
Yeah, I think when we ended up, because I think she changed her hair around the time of the Cruella movie.
Yeah.
And we ended up having the same hairstyle.
Oh,
and that's when I started getting Emma Stone. So I blame it on that.
That's funny.
But yes, it was a ton of fun. Made a ton of fun videos with my friend Alicia, who is my Padme. And I absolutely cannot wait to share those because they're pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I debuted Chewie for the first time. That was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my first time seeing it too.
Yeah. It was definitely a rewarding experience, but it was also an exhausting experience just because of for me, it was like doing 5 leg days in a row, but just in one day.
Yeah.
So my calves were killing me, but I think in a total, I wore the costume for 9 hours. I think 2.5 hours of those, I was just kind of sitting there because I was kind of catching my breath.
How heavy are the stilts?
Or
lifts, platforms?
Yeah. I would probably say lifts more than anything because the way that we approached it, and by the way, shout out to Craig Hobbs because he worked so hard on the feet and designing them. And any small thing that he saw that he didn't like about it, he'd be like, all right, I need to take the feet back because he just wants to fix it. And even after C2E2, he's like, dude, I've got so many ideas for upgrades. So it shows you how much his passion is in that work. So shout out to him. But I think altogether, it's maybe like just over 10 pounds.
Ooh, yeah.
Like in general, yeah.
So if you're walking around lifting that for 9 hours, that'll take it out of you.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was great. Again, such a blast, such a great time. It took us like an hour and a half the first time I was wearing it, and I didn't even have Han Solo with me. I didn't have Hunter Smoke with me walking around. That was just me by myself, and it was just crazy. Because people kept coming up and giving me hugs and stuff like that, which I always found interesting, of being like, ooh, look, that's a cool costume. I'm going to give that person a hug. I've never met them in my entire life. But
well, I think with Chewie especially, it's different.
Yeah.
Everybody wants a Wookiee hug.
Yeah. Yeah. and just seeing so many people just get excited. And there was this kid that was wearing a Chewbacca sweatshirt or something, and they were looking at like different things like on the show floor. And I remember I walked over, and the mom turned and was just like, "Son," and the kid like just kind of grabbed something and was like, "Mom, look," and then looked at me, dropped the toy, and just ran over to me, and I was like, "This is awesome. This is so
Yeah.
cool." So yeah, no, that was such a fun time, and I met so many incredible people. And then at one point there was 4 of us.
Yeah, there were 4 different Chewies.
Yeah, well, there were
Or
3 different Chewies.
3 Chewies, yeah.
And then there was one Black Chrysanthemum from the 2010 comic.
Mm-hmm.
Which that was super cool to see.
Which that makes more sense that it's from the comic because it looked a little off, but it
Yes.
wasn't based on the Mandalorian costume. It was
Right.
the comic, so that would
Yeah.
explain the little differences.
I'm hoping to get a couple of pictures with a Book of Boba Fett Black Chrysanthemum at Dragon Con this year. Just because of I love that costume. It looks great. I know Nathan Ritchie, who actually made my Chewie mask. He's currently trying to get his done by Dragon Con, so that would be really cool if we get some pictures. But yeah, overall, C2E2 was a blast. But let's dive into the Star Wars news. You got May 4th this weekend. You got the Phantom Menace, which is starting tomorrow, and at some theaters tonight at midnight. And then you have Tales of the Empire on May 4th as well. Tickets for Star Wars Celebration go on sale tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and just depending on your time zone. But yeah, and then you also have the actual release date of the game Hunters that was almost announced 3 years ago. I played the demo at Star Wars Celebration 2022. So
yeah, I think I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah. So it's just crazy to finally see that it has its release date. But yeah, so there's a decent amount of Star Wars news to talk about. And then also we just had the series finale of the Bad Batch. We won't go into it that much because we did do our episode breakdown last night, but not next week, but the week after that is when we are going to have like a big series recap because Hunter and Christian are right now over at Disneyland, and they are celebrating Star Wars, their Star Wars weekend over there. So we'll definitely do a recap in a couple of weeks.
And by series and by breakdown of the series finale, I am assuming you mean breakdown emotionally.
Oh yeah. No, there was a lot that happened, but also I felt like there was a lot of things that are unanswered. I know Josh on the podcast did say that, he could see them announcing a different clone series of where it would follow the events of Captain Rex leading into Star Wars Rebels, which makes sense to me because there were a lot of different characters throughout the series that were advertised as main story plots in the seasons, and they only showed up for like one episode, and then you never heard from them again.
I feel like Star Wars has a habit of doing that, though.
Right. So I'm really hoping that we get more info on what happened to those characters, especially Commander Cody. I mean, come on. That was a big one for me. So here's hoping. But yeah.
Answer me this. Do they explain why Omega exists?
In a way, because I don't want to give spoilers, but there's a scene where they're like, explain to me this, and then the person does, but the camera cuts, and then it cuts back, and then the one other character's like, so that's what that's all about.
Then what's the point?
Right. Yeah. I felt the same way.
They've got to, if they cut it, it's got to be something that they're revealing later. Or they just never came up with an explanation. Imagine that. Imagine they had no plans for an explanation and just strung it along this whole time.
Well, again, we have gotten some explanation, which was in that comic book where that Sabe is in, of where it takes place between Empire and Return of the
The
Jedi.
Vader comics?
Yeah, and it's where Vader goes to Exegol and he sees everything, and he talks to the Emperor, and then he's just like, okay, I just saw an entire Imperial fleet. I saw a bunch of clones and tubes, but I'm not gonna say anything. Even on his deathbed, you know, he like, or you know, he comes back as a Force ghost. He could be like, hey Luke, you should check out the planet Exegol.
Well, here's the thing. I haven't read all of the comics, so could be missing something. But I know at one point Vader's like dying out,
Yeah.
and Sabe is like, I'm gonna listen to Padme one more time, and revives him. Maybe it reset his memories a little bit, and he forgot. That's the closest to the benefit of the doubt I am giving Anakin Skywalker.
Okay. All right. Well, but yeah, so you have the Phantom Menace, which is coming out, and this year marks the 25th anniversary. It's very exciting. Tickets went on sale like around a month and a half ago. What's great is that this is going to be a very exciting event because not everyone had the chance to go see the movie back in 1999 on the big screen. They are doing a Star Wars marathon actually starting tomorrow, and it starts like at 8 p.m. at certain theaters, and then it doesn't end until like, you know, maybe 2 in the afternoon or something like that. But it's
Oh
like
my
all
gosh.
9 Skywalker saga films.
That's intense.
Yeah.
I could not do that.
I mean, I've done something very similar, where it was 9 films, but it was the extended editions of the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Which, fun fact, they are re-releasing them in the
I
theater
did see
in
that.
June. So I'll probably go to that because I remember that just being an awesome experience.
My
So,
friend Noe will probably be there as well.
yeah. So, but what's great is that not only do we get to see it in the theater, we also get to get a sneak peek of the new Star Wars show Acolyte, which is coming out on June 4th, which is ironic because of the game Hunters is also coming out on that date as well. Yeah. I'm just going to double check because I'm pretty sure it was the June 4th. Stand by. Yes, June 4th. So Hunters and Acolyte both come out on the same day, which Hunters was a game that was announced I think almost 4 years ago or something like that, and then we actually got gameplay over at Star Wars Celebration 2022, and I actually got to play the demo, and I thought the game was like, all right, cool. So I'm really curious of what really was the main reasoning of the delay, and if it's going to be better than what I saw.
Yeah.
Because it's been so long, and I feel like we've talked about it like every other episode. So
Yeah, because if it was close enough to finish that they had demos,
yeah,
then it's surprising that it took an additional 2 years.
yeah,
Weird.
very weird. But yeah, so here is hoping that that game's going to be great because I got high hopes for it. And then there's also Tales of the Empire, which is coming out on May 4th. Follows the story of Morgan, who we first see in The Mandalorian. And we ended that episode of where she shows up, where she's fighting Ahsoka, where Ahsoka is like, "Where's your master? Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn?" What a line drop too.
Yeah.
It was just like, oh my gosh. And then fast forward to the Ahsoka series, she just gets so much story and so much build up, and then now you have the show coming out, and we're going to learn so much more about her. She was there in the Clone Wars when General Grievous was going on his purge of the Night Sisters, so that's going to be really cool to see. And then you have the other very old age question: what happened to Barriss Offee? Because in Legends, right before the Clone Wars ended, they were very short staffed on Jedi, so they were like, we need people to fight, you know, the Clone Wars. We need to help end it. So they in Legends, they actually went to Barris, was like, listen, if you help fight, we will shorten your sentence. And then Barris Sophie's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. So she goes with Luminara, and she actually dies on Kashyyyk. But that was Legends, and then we really never learned what happened. But
so for all we know right now, that's canon.
Oh no, it's definitely not canon anymore, because Tales of the Empire, from what we saw in the trailer, is that she's being trained as a Sith Inquisitor.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And Jason Isaacs actually comes back as the voice of the Grand Inquisitor, which I think he should have been cast live action in Obi-Wan Kenobi. I will die on that hill, because he is an amazing actor and he would have crushed it in live action. I don't know why he wasn't, but that was really unfortunate.
Because the guy who played George Wickham in Pride and Prejudice 2005 is good.
Yeah, but so was Jason Isaacs, who played Lucius Malfoy. I mean, come on.
I've never seen Harry Potter.
Well, I never seen Pride and Prejudice, so we're even.
I mean, one of them is a lot less work to watch than the other. One movie versus, like, what is it there? 10 Harry Potters?
No, there's 8.
Okay, 8 Harry
There's
Potters.
8 movies, there's 7 books.
Right.
Well, I guess if you count the Cursed Child.
I don't know anything about Harry Potter, so.
But yeah, so that's gonna follow of how she potentially becomes a Sith Inquisitor, or maybe or she doesn't pass the Sith Inquisitor trials and maybe she gets killed. Darth Vader does make an appearance in her arc, which is gonna be cool, because we are gonna see Darth Vader in that animation style again, which we only saw for a brief second in season 7 of the Clone Wars. But seeing Thrawn in the animation style was a big dream of mine, after his career ended in Rebels, and then we had season 7 of the Clone Wars, and I was like, okay, what's happening with that? What's going on? Is Thrawn going to make a cameo? So the fact that we are going to be able to see him in the animation is going to be super, super cool.
Now, do we know if Tales of is a series that they're going to continue?
It sounds like it. The hype for Tales of the Empire is pretty big. Tales of the Jedi was also a big hit too. I think people were kind of blown away about it. I think people were kind of like, oh, these episodes are really short. Because I think people, as soon as they see the animation style, they're like, oh, it's going to be like the Clone Wars. It's going to be like the Bad Batch. But each episode was like maybe like 15 minutes long. They are considering these shorts, so it's probably going to be the same length as those episodes from Tales of the Jedi. But I'm very excited, because we are learning more about not just Bear Sophie and Morgan, but we're learning more about what was happening with these other characters, like the Grand Inquisitor. So the fact that we're diving deeper into that and getting more information on those characters is pretty cool.
Yeah, because I would really like to see more of, like, Tales of.
Yeah.
Just because you're exploring the same timeline that we all know and love, but you're finding out more information of, like, different spots in that timeline, where, like, you can still continue the Skywalker saga, quote unquote, but just expand on that galaxy.
Yeah. There is a whole level of potential for that series. It could be Tales of the Handmaidens. It could be Tales of Bounty Hunters. It could be anything.
Do Tales of the Senate, the Galactic Senate.
I would love to learn more about Orn Free Ta. Like, what was going on? No, I'm just kidding. I hate that guy. We were walking around C2E2, and my goal was to find some type of Max Rebo merch. Couldn't find any. And then every time that we passed like a Star Wars action figure booth or something, either it would be Orn Free Ta or Masamita is his name. He's like he was like the right hand man to Palpatine when like he was Chancellor.
Okay.
Yeah. And they were like, look, it's Max Rebo. I'm like, you get Orn Free Ta out of my face right now. I don't want this. And then we actually found a patch from Star Wars Celebration 2022, and it's got Max Rebo right in the middle of it, and it says 2022 Alive and Kickin' Tour. And I was so pumped because I didn't even know that patch existed, but I was pumped because this was the same year that the Book of Boba Fett came out.
Yeah.
So the hype around, him being alive, just,
I am forever sad that I did not know of or get a patch that said that was like the I survived Star Wars Celebration 2022.
Yeah.
And then they had a companion patch that was I got COVID at Star Wars Celebration 2022.
Oh.
And I survived, and I want one of those patches.
Well, there's always eBay. So.
And people in my room got it, but I didn't.
Oh.
Look at me go.
Wow. There you go.
Watch me get sick in 2 days.
And then you have May 4th, which is going to be awesome. Do you have plans for May 4th? Are you trooping?
I might be trooping a volleyball game.
Oh, yeah. I was asked to do Chewy for that. I said no.
I said maybe because my schedule all of April was so busy and packed. People were like talking about like doing things like in the future, and like I couldn't even wrap my head around anything outside of April.
Yeah.
So I was not thinking about anything past C2E2. And so now that we are past C2E2, I can start thinking about this stuff, and it's like, oh, it's all right at the start of May. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is happening real fast. So I don't know. I might, because I took the day off work just in case I wanted to. I might just take it as a rest easy day.
Are you going to the concert that's happening over at the DeVos?
Mm-mm.
You should have signed up for it. Because I'm going, Craig's going.
The signups were happening when I was not focusing on anything.
Oh.
So I was not watching the boards or anything.
Okay. Well, what's also great about that day is that it's also free comic book day. So if you go to your local comic book store, they probably are having an event over there. If it's Marvel Comics or, Star Wars Comics, they'll probably have it. So
or Star Wars Marvel Comics.
Or Star Wars Marvel Comics. There you go. I would check it out. There is a lot to explore there. But depending on where you're from, most likely your local garrison from the 501st or the Rebel Legion will be doing events. So check it out there. If you're in Michigan, I know in the Grand Rapids area, there is the comic book shop called Tardy's. A couple of us will be there. There will also be the volleyball game that you mentioned. I probably won't be there because they asked me to actually play volleyball as Chewy.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, that's a lot. And then there is a Star Wars concert happening over at the DeVos. So you'll probably see Chewy there if you're going to those two events. And then the Phantom Menace will be happening throughout the weekend. So most likely you will be seeing different troopers and stuff over at your different theaters that you go to. But yeah, there's so many Star Wars things to do. Did you ever try the blue milk that they had by True Moon?
I did not.
It doesn't really taste anything like
the
Galaxy's Edge one.
And no, it doesn't. But I was told it tasted like melted ice cream.
Yes.
And I'm not a fan of that.
But Craig and I tested this. If you freeze it a little bit, so it kind of gets that slushy flavor, and then you put a tiny bit of rum, it actually does taste very similar.
Huh.
Yeah.
I know we had a half gallon of it in our fridge at C2E2, and my roommates chugged it on the last day, and because we had to get rid of it.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what? And she just pours it into her iced coffee, and it turns green. And she's like, it tastes good. It looks like sludge, but it tastes good.
Not the green milk. I can't.
No, not green milk. The iced coffee turned green.
Oh,
mixing with the blue milk.
Oh,
so it's like some sludge, but She said it tasted good.
Interesting.
But that same friend, Michelle, is also headed to San Francisco for Phantom Menace.
Oh, cool.
She's gonna wear she has the peasant Padme.
Oh, okay.
So she's wearing that one, and she got some personal stickers to pass out. And then she was also passing out a sticker that I designed that I gave you.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lineup of all of the handmaidens from the Phantom Menace,
That's
and it
really
says
cool.
hashtag not Padme
Love
because none of them are Padme. And you got the big croissant right on there next to the black feather headdress because that is also not Padme. It's Sabe.
that. Yeah. How do you think Keira Knightley feels? Like, like
She barely remembers it,
yeah, it's so funny.
but like she doesn't even. She
her,
didn't even really know who she was playing.
her and Natalie Portman are around the same age, right?
I think they're like
Yeah.
2 years apart.
Yeah.
But I just find it so funny how like even a lot of people in our base, like until I did Sabe, a good chunk of them didn't even know that there was a whole decoy switch. And I was like, it is a main plot point
Yeah.
of the Phantom Menace that there is a decoy. Like that is the big reveal.
Yeah.
That's how Padme survives the end because she gets cornered by Newt Gunray, and then Sabe kicks in the door. Is like, your occupation here has ended, and they're like, oh, go get that one, and then that gives Padme enough time to grab a pistol.
Yeah.
So she saves the day. It's a big plot point, and nobody knows she exists, and everybody thinks that it's just Padme, and it's not Padme. I don't do Padme. And I can now never do Padme because everybody thinks that I do Padme. So I have not, nor will I ever cosplay Padme.
And that was the point of this episode today. Was
Yes.
to just kind of tell the world that you'll never do Padme.
I told you there was an 89% chance I would go on this rant.
Yep. Absolutely. Oh man. So speaking of the Phantom Menace, Doug Chang is actually going to be signing autographs over at Star Celebration in Japan, which he's never done before.
Who's that?
He designed a bunch of stuff for that movie. So
okay.
The design for the Naboo starfighter.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And like the droids and just different ships and everything, even helping like design Coruscant and stuff like that was him. And then fast forward to where he's now, and I think he's still doing so much for this film. So,
do you mean to say he's the one responsible for putting milk and neon signs on Coruscant?
I don't know if that's him.
If you meet him, can you ask him?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. So my goal is to take a Naboo starfighter to Japan.
Yeah.
Can't believe that's next year. That's crazy.
I know.
And then for Masha Isley, I know you've never gone, but it's so cool. But they actually announced that they're doing a cruise. And Katie Sackhoff and Tamara Morrison are going to be there, including Warwick Davis and Jonas, who played Chewie, are going to make guest appearances there on a cruise ship. And then they're doing Masha Isley down there. That's pretty big. And they actually did hint at doing a cruise in one of the live streams, and they were like, it's a pipe dream. And I was like, that would be cool. And then fast forward to now, and it's happening May 1st through May 5th of next year.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm tempted to go. I know a couple of people in our group are tempted to go. I don't know what it's gonna cost, but
probably a lot.
Yeah. I don't, and
that's weird that it goes because the 5th is gonna be a Monday.
Of next year?
Yeah.
Yeah, because this year it's on a Saturday, so it's going to be on a Sunday next year.
That's a weird day to end a cruise, I feel like.
On
a Monday.
No, it's not.
I've only been on one cruise, and that was like 10 years ago.
I have done a Disney cruise, and that was shortly after they were getting out of the pandemic too. So when we went, we actually got to go to the island that they own because of Disney owns an island.
Mm-hmm.
And we went there, and they normally only go once on their trip, but we actually got to go twice, which was pretty cool.
Nice.
And it's where they filmed the second Pirates of the Caribbean. So it's like the scene of where like they're they're fighting on the beach and stuff like that.
Oh,
Yeah.
so the scene where I want that has the outfit that I want to make.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah,
Nice.
gosh, I love this time of year too. This is gonna be a flashback, but you said last year that I never do anything special for you on Star Wars Day.
No, okay, so what it was, I was literally thinking about this
Yeah.
yesterday. It was you treat this day like Christmas. You go out and you buy presents for everybody, and then I said, "You've never given me a May 4th
Yeah.
present."
So I do have one.
Oh my gosh.
It's not here yet. It will be on May 4th. So I expect to see you on that day because I'm not getting crap for you ever again. For that, at least.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Even if I don't see you on that day,
Yeah.
I'll see you like the next week.
Oh
so,
yeah. And
but
and then we could just debut it on the podcast. I mean, like, happy Star Wars Day, happy Black Spire Day. Here you go.
Oh, if it is a Padme thing, I'm chucking it out a window.
I'm not telling you. And you can't throw it out of that window. But
Okay, I'll throw it out the door.
yeah.
You live not on the first floor, so.
Oh yeah. Oh man. So from watching Tales of the Empire, if you're seeing the Phantom Menace, if you are, just wanted to go home and rewatch the movies, there's also a bunch of game sales too. And I know for Fortnite, they're doing like a big Star Wars event. They actually are releasing Chewbacca as a Fortnite skin.
Oh, cool. So now when you troop as Chewie, kids can still say, "Hey, you're from Fortnite."
That's actually what that actually happened to me when I was trooping at the Griffins game, and I was wearing my Stormtrooper. And this kid wasn't kidding; like he was like dead serious. He was just like, "Oh my god, I love you from Fortnite. I got your skin when it released," and I was just like, "Huh. I'm not mad.
I'm just disappointed.
I'm just disappointed."
No, but I know like when we've done stuff with the superhero group that they
yeah.
get that quite a bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I have you on Fortnite.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah. Star Wars Day is coming up here soon, and then tickets for Star Wars Celebration go on sale tonight. So be ready for that. If you're planning on going, I've got a big plan. David and I both are trying to get VIP. There is some, surprising stuff that will announce here soon for Star Wars Celebration, because some big things might be happening for us, which is pretty cool. But for VIP, I'm using my laptop, I'm using another laptop, and using my wife's laptop, and I'm using my phone just so we can try to get VIP. And David's doing the same thing.
Dedication.
Yes. Because they have changed the rules, which I was just telling you about. So if you do get VIP going forward, and it hasn't been really advertised in the past, but it's been very advertised now. But if you get VIP now, you can actually kind of secure your spot for getting a VIP in the future. So if you...
Well, essentially you get first crack at tickets.
Yes. So you actually get first dibs on pre-sale tickets the day before actual tickets go on sale.
It's like being a Patreon member or subscribing to an email.
Yeah. So right now, I say this is the perfect time to do it because of, not that many... And I say not that many people are going to Japan, which we know there's going to be thousands of people there, but it's not going to be the same numbers as if they were doing it in Orlando or Chicago or somewhere. But the other thing is they have changed how you can pick up the tickets. They are no longer sending them in the mail. You have to do it through will call. So that means that you can't just buy tickets and resell them. you can't have scalpers go in and buy more tickets and try and sell them for more than what they're worth.
Oh,
which I think is fantastic.
Yeah,
Because that definitely has happened in the past. And that's been very frustrating to the people that really wanted those tickets. So,
it's as annoying as having to go through will call
Absolutely.
is.
Yep.
That is the best approach to get to excluding resellers
right.
that I've ever seen.
So I don't know if they're just doing it for this one or they're going to do that in the future. Because I feel like with every celebration, they are experimenting with something new.
Yeah. My guess is they're trying it out, and if it doesn't work, they'll reevaluate.
Well, I think that's great because there are so many scalpers, especially for VIP tickets, because you know they now have the lottery system. So it's just like if you don't get the VIP, then you have to basically hope that you win in order to get into some panels, and it's just frustrating. So, you know, here's our shot. Hopefully, this is our year. Yeah.
I wish I could do a flight like that, but there's
16 hours.
I barely made it to California. Like 4 hours is my limit.
I slept for most of my trip to London, which I still can't believe I did that. The like first time I go to a different country, it's because of Star Wars, but at the same time, it's like, of course I did.
That tracks.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, so
I got to meet my friend Alicia from Canada. It was her first time in the US.
There you go.
And it was to do some handmaiden stuff.
Star Wars stuff. With that being said, we would like to thank all of our Patreon members who have been there for us since the beginning. We love you all. We would not be doing it if it wasn't for you. And for all the listeners, thank you so much. At C2E2, we did have a couple of people come up, and that was really cool. And then we've got the Clone Wars commentaries on Patreon as well. And we got so much going on. We are working on a giveaway. Star and I are currently working on a really cool giveaway that is we'll be posting on our Instagram soon. It's going to be a one of a kind item. They don't sell these, so well, at least Disney doesn't sell them. So, but yeah, so I'm excited.
Might have to throw some of my stickers in there.
Stickers. Any words of wisdom for the audience?
I don't cosplay Padme.
May the force be with you.
Always.